everybody. Welcome back. If it looks like my face is hurting, it is because I've just been laughing so much with the Sheba guys. I am here with Shannon and Jason Mullet-Bowlesby, the dynamic duo known as the Sheba guys. Their award-winning crochet, knit, sewing, and quilting designs have been featured in covers of domestic and international publications. They have an enormous amount of enthusiasm, quirky sense of humor, and definitely have a relatable teaching style. They are teaching for us in our Pennsylvania National Quilt Extravaganza online. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, as well as some other things that are coming up for them. Hi, Shannon and Jason. How are you?
Hi.
Hi. Nice
Good to see you. Thanks for having us.
Yes, absolutely. So how is Seattle right at this moment?
Hot.
Yeah.
But you know that because we've been griping to you about it for the past 20 minutes. It's
Yes.
hot here. This is not normal. We didn't move here for sand and surf and sun, and so we just sit in front of one little fan.
Blow it on me. Just blow it right. Just keep going.
It doesn't oscillate with you. You go with the oscillation.
Oh no, if it oscillates, then we're like this. We're like,
Right.
oh yeah.
Well, I'm so happy to have you on an interview today. We are going to talk about you have a new book coming out. Why don't you start by talking about that?
It actually doesn't come out until when does it come out? It's in 22.
22 is when it comes out. It's the fall winter of 22.
Of 22,
Yes.
which means you know how the process goes with publishing things. We're working on it now, and everything should wrap up this December. But we are right in the middle.
We're in the meat of it right now.
Of making, and we can't really talk much about what we're doing
what
in
the book's
it.
about, but it might be
if it showed up on camera in the background or on my chest, that might anyway.
So in general,
it is the
So how long
follow-up
have you-
to our previous book. Actually.
Yeah, it's a follow-up to
Okay.
our Boro and Sashiko book, and we're actually teaching a class in the subject matter at Pennsylvania International. Wait, what's it called? It has the best name. Pennsylvania Intergalactic Quilt Extravaganza. I mean, you think that I would have made this name up, right?
right?
If you don't
Yes,
have the
well, it's
Intergalactic Quilt Extravaganza soon, I'm going to be really ticked.
Yes, it is an extravaganza. We have a lot going on, and we are very happy to have you teaching online for us after the in-person show happens.
Yes.
So your book, Boro and Sashiko, Harmonious Imperfection. Harmonious Imperfection.
Very
It's
good.
been a great success.
yeah, it's been a great.
Oh, it's been
success,
awesome. People have been so supportive and jumped into this so much. You can see some of the pieces behind us. And we've been teaching classes on Boro and Sashiko for the past, year,
Yes.
just from the book, but we were doing it for a couple of years before that as well. So, and we're doing that at Pennsylvania.
We're doing Asanoha.
We're doing that.
The Asanoha pattern, which, for those of you in the know, that is the hemp leaf pattern. It is one of the truly iconic patterns of Sashiko.
We see it repeated the most in the garments that we were able to study from the museum when we did the research for the book. That one is, and everybody wants to learn that one. So that one we're doing, and we're also doing a Kogan class, which is a different type of Sashiko.
It's a completely different form of Sashiko. Rather than doing the large stitches, these are small counted stitches. So you're actually doing this on even weave cloth, counting the number of threads you're going over and under to create some really intricate patterns.
This one matches my outfit. Well, this does too.
How do people use the Boro and the Sashiko into their quilting and their sewing? How do they use that kind of those designs and put them into other pieces?
Well, the stitches themselves were used for mending and reinforcing fabric, but also for quilting.
Yes.
There is a type of Sashiko called Shonai Sashiko from the Shonai region, and it was where they took layers of fabric and put them together and Sashikoed them very heavily.
It's quilting and it's very essential.
Right, it really is. And it's so taking these patterns, especially this one, and blowing them up a little bit, they work really well by hand, actually doing the Sashiko pattern by hand. or you take our class, you learn how to draw it.
Right. That's the main thing, is that you can buy pre-printed fabric with a lot of these patterns on it. But unless you learn how to draw the pattern, you're kind of stuck with just that fabric. So at least with us, we're going to teach you how to draw it. And then from there, you can blow it up as large as you want or as small as you want and adjust it. You can put it on jackets. You can put it on pants.
Well, you can use that for this one, use a lot for quilting. And you see the ones behind us. These are quilts and wall hangings from our book.
Yeah,
all the little white stuff is all of our stitching. And we use it, you blow the pattern up. And even if you don't do it by hand, you can do Sashiko inspired machine quilting and embroidery and use it that way. So applications for garment sewists, for people who like to do embellishments using embroidery patterns, quilting, all that type of stuff, whether it's hand or machine, this is definitely applicable to all of those.
Kogan is very similar to that. As the issue with Kogan is that you're using a different type of fabric, and then we'll use that fabric and interlay that into, for example, a garment or a purse or a bag, or some of home deck things. So there are a lot of useful things that we can do, and we'll talk about all that in class as well, of how to take what you're doing here and then blow it out.
Very interdisciplinary.
Yes. Ooh.
Okay. Do you think that's why quilters, and sewers have been so drawn to this art of hand stitching, because you can use it in so many different ways?
Yes, it is so versatile. I mean, it's not just for visible mending. It's the original, it's the Japanese version of visible mending. And it's not just for that anymore. It's for creating entire garments. Like we did, most recently we did the Hanten from the book. I made one for Jason for his birthday, which is this weekend. And it was the Hanten. We put it up on our social media, and I think you have a photo of it. And this is all done in Boro patches. Boro is the patchwork. Sashiko is the stitching that you see on there.
The little bitty stitches.
And so applications for garment making, for making fabrics in general. And then you can cut that fabric and use it for garments or for quilts or for wall hangings or pillows. I mean, it's so textural and so interesting. And every piece is unique because the hand stitching and the Boro patchwork are never going to be the same twice.
Right.
And so, I mean, these bags, but I have a thing for bags. And these are, well, all except for the one there in front, are all Boro patchwork fabric with Sashiko stitching on them. So it's just, everything is so unique and so interesting. You kind of get drawn into doing one more piece and one more. That's why I have so many bags.
Right. Well, and there are literally thousands of Sashiko patterns out there. So once you learn the basics of it, you can just springboard from here into hundreds and hundreds of different designs. And we really do just have fun.
And I think because of that uniqueness and the adaptability of it, and the fact that you can, I mean, okay, so you make a tote bag this time or a pillow this time, and then you do it again, and it looks completely different, and it gets addictive.
Right.
Is it therapeutic? Is it therapeutic?
Oh, is it? Absolutely. It is it's one of the few art forms that we practice, and we do, knit, crochet, sewing. We do a lot of things, but it's one of the things that we can just sit down on the couch and just work on at night, watching a movie, whatever. Your hands are moving, but your brain is completely kind of in a whole other place.
You're mindful of the stitches that you're doing and of the fabric that you're creating, but that allows your brain to kind of release other junk that's cluttered up there.
Especially with Kogan, because a lot of these patterns are very repetitive, and it's a slow counting. So 3, 3, 3, 3, 5, 3, 3.
It really does allow you to kind of release all the other stuff that's cluttering up and jumbling around in your head.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Is there math in it? Do you have to count the?
Well, you do have to count.
In Kogan, you count, because Kogan is a thread work. It's a counted thread work style. And so you go over 3, under 2, over 3, under 1, like that. So, but it's not like you have to do like math. Right.
And then as far as the Asanoha pattern, all you're doing is you're counting the number of stitches you do from point A to point B. And you're making sure that that's the same across the whole thing, that you're always getting 6 stitches from here to here.
So if you can count,
as long as you can 6,
maybe
you can do it.
Maybe 10.
Right.
Maybe 10.
Well, so in the Kogan class, what will the students walk away with?
We're actually going to do, it's based on this pattern. And it's actually going to be, pretend this is finished. It's actually going to be like a little bookmark.
Nice. Okay.
Oh, if you look up Kogan on Instagram, like bookmarks are the thing. And you know why? Because this. Like you can finish this in like an evening watching TV.
Yeah.
That's really
an afternoon
cool.
of sitting in the garden.
Yeah.
Just write it down.
And then the hemp leaf pattern, what will the students walk away with that class?
So we're gonna make this patch.
Yes, we'll make them that exact patch, which they can use as a patch itself. They'll also have all of the instructions to continue and draw it on whatever they want, and then take that away. So
the handout that comes with it is like step by step. Draw this, draw that, draw this, draw that. And the idea is that if they want to, they can just watch the class and get it, and then go back afterward and follow the steps in the handout, and they'll have it.
That's really cool. Well, so I hear you have some new projects in the works. What's going on?
I didn't bring it in here. It's actually on the mannequin in the other room down the hallway. But we're doing a lot of projects with upcycled and recycled fabrics.
Oh.
You know, we always talk about, our scrappy wonky stuff.
Yep, there's the bags.
Improv piecing. The garment designs, we have a whole new line, 2 new lines of garment designs coming out.
Right.
And a couple of quilt patterns. And they're all based on using your fabric more wisely if you're going to buy fabric. So cutting it so that you have less waste for garments. And then reusing that fabric after the fact. And we teamed up with Eileen Fisher, their Eileen Fisher Renew project, where you take your worn out Eileen Fisher clothes, or they shrank, or you tore a hole, or you stained it, or whatever, and you can turn it into them for in-store credit. And then they take those and they mend them and they turn them into resellable garments. Well, they also supply artists like us, and we just happen to live in a city where there is an Eileen Fisher Renew warehouse about 10 minutes down the hill.
Right over there.
And we just give them a call and say, hey, we'd like to get some garments. And we go down and pick, and we are teaching a series of classes based on taking that fabric and turning them into whole new garments. And
That's really cool.
I think you gave them that photo, right?
Did,
it's the Go Your Own Way tunic is that class that we're doing. And it is all about taking that type of garment fabric that you might not have enough to do one thing with, and doing more of a patchwork improv style pieced fabric to get a whole new garment out of it. An actual
garment, yes.
So what is your thought process in creating a new fabric design or upcycling, a garment into a new garment? What is kind of the creative process?
Well, there's big piles of clothes over here on the floor. No, you have no, really?
Really? Well, yesterday we actually did go to our storage unit. We went through, and I'm not exaggerating here, 600 pounds of garments.
Wow.
And that's stuff that would have ended up in landfills. But what we do is we sort them then into, these are knits, these are stretch crepes, these are denims, these are gauzes, these are, so we sort them generally like that.
Then we start looking at the way these things are going to kind of interplay, colors, patterns, textures, see what's going to work well together.
And you basically, the same way that you'd pick colors for like quilting, is that you just kind of take the fabric and lay it out next to each other, and you start piling it together. This is a pile off camera. This is a pile of denim. Either white denim. This is some scrap denim that we rescued, but some of Jason's pink jeans. And some white jeans that we rescued. And what we're doing is dyeing all of those pink. And we have some blue jeans down here on the floor that we're using a color remover and bleach, and then dyeing those pink. And that's all going to be cut apart and made into a giant pink denim kimono.
So cool.
Yeah, is that right? Yeah. And then Sasha goes stitch the entire thing in different colors of pinks. And that's part of our museum exhibit that's coming up.
That's really cool. What museum is it?
It is
being
the
featured in?
Northwest Quilt and Fiber Art Museum.
Very nice. Washington.
Yeah, in LaConner, Washington. Great place. It's in an old Victorian mansion. It's gorgeous.
Right off the water. It's beautiful place.
And so we're doing a whole exhibit there in their top floor exhibit hall. And it's all about Sashiko and Boro.
That is really neat.
We're using a lot of reclaimed fabric for that. We also have some support from like Cherrywood Hand-Dyed Fabrics, who's at your shows a lot. Robert Kaufman fabric, that sort of thing. But we're trying to use mostly upcycled and recycled fabrics for that.
That's really neat. Do you think you'll do a fashion show?
I know that we will, because
cool.
Everything that we're doing at this point, even though things are going back to in person, We are not doing in person. We're still doing virtual. And part of that is, Diana, because we met so many amazing people. Like we've done more and met more people virtually than we ever did at live shows. Because as you know, we're teaching like 3 or 4 times a month.
Right.
And I would never travel that much.
Right. We couldn't.
Yeah, we couldn't.
We couldn't
go nuts. But we don't want to now, all those relationships that we've built virtually, we don't want to just like leave them behind.
Right.
And honestly, some of them can't travel. Some of these folks, because of medical reasons, can't travel, but also because of jobs or families or financial reasons. It's expensive to travel sometimes.
And to go to some of these shows. So we want to be able to support everybody who can possibly attend a virtual event.
So all of our things include our classes, including in this museum exhibit, there's going to be a virtual component to it. So that folks that can't make it, there will be, here are the things that we're doing, and there'll be a little tour of it and all that.
That's so nice.
Yeah,
that'll be really nice. Yeah, well, I look forward to maybe getting to see a fashion show of the garments. That's definitely, the fashion is definitely my kind of personal pet projects within the Mancuso shows. I always handle the fashion shows, and I always enjoy seeing what the artists have come up with. A lot of upcycling, which is really, really cool.
Yes.
We have a whole new, like I said, 2 new lines of garments coming out. One definitely is it's the Go Your Own Way series. It's kind of a template based, that here is this thing, and then here how you make alterations to it to fit your body a certain way. And you can use new fabric or upcycled fabric for that. And the other one is a top secret project that's based on some of our past work in the knit and crochet world. And then we're bringing that into the cut and sew world. And so, so we're very excited about that. That's going to be total, I think that's about 20 some odd new garments that are going to be happening. Yeah,
well, that's so exciting.
Very excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that out in the world. So, serious question here. What do you see in the future for textile arts? What's in the future?
I think we're definitely going to have to be more and more mindful of the way that we're using existing products. We have to watch how we consume our fabric, our thread, our yarn, our supplies, things like glues and paints and dyes. We really have to be more mindful of this. While we know that climate change is real, and while we know that the corporations are not going to do diddly doo-dah on their end to try to fix it, it's up to us, then it falls on our shoulders to do that.
Consumers.
And I really feel like makers can make a huge difference with our pocketbooks of, consuming more responsibly and consuming from places that create less waste, but also and I'm not saying never to buy new stuff. Good Lord, I am a shopper. Lady, you know me, I am a shopper. And so I'm going to shop, but I'm going to use what I have more responsibly, if that makes sense. Creating less waste here in the studio, even to our threads. Oh, I put it all away. We even go on our Instagram, you'll see it there. We keep the threads, and we keep what we call dust, which is basically little teeny tiny pieces of fabric and thread. And then we chop all that up and create dust that we then make into new fabric, which is another new class coming up. That we make into new fabric that way. So I really think especially for us, but I think for everyone, more people are looking at more responsible ways to consume within our industry. And I think that's something that the future has to have in it.
I really think that, it is super important. And it's amazing that the two of you are really, taking charge and, taking a step in reducing, the waste that we have in the world.
We're going to have no choice. We don't have, we're not billionaires. We can't go get on a spacecraft and go someplace else. This is where we have. And the people that come after us need to live here after us and not look at us and go, wow, those jerks used up everything. And then
now what do we do?
And then they're living in some water world or Mad Max sort of world and hate us. So we need to do better for those folks that are coming after us a little bit. Although I'd go to water world. I would.
Today.
Switching gears, I follow you on Instagram.
I like how she has to draw us back. So switching gears.
And I want to take a minute to talk about the beautiful garden that you have. Obviously it's something that you cherish. I love the pictures. I know Jason, that you are a photographer, and I know you're taking those beautiful pictures of the garden. Are you both working in the garden?
Define working.
Our garden went very low maintenance this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're home,
Yes.
obviously. Right. And last summer we were too depressed to do anything. But we were traveling for years before that, and our garden used to be literally a show garden.
It was. Yeah.
We have a townhouse here in Seattle, and so our garden is the size of a townhouse style garden with a giant concrete slab,
about 15 by 15 feet. It's not large.
But back in the day, we grew 600 pounds of tomatoes back there one year, and we were on the garden tours and all that stuff. So it used to be extremely high maintenance.
It was actually funny. If you went onto Google Maps, you could actually look at the row of townhouses, and you'd see desert, oasis, desert.
Ours was just this big green spot.
There's just a big green spot right there, and it's like,
and so now this year we just kind of decided our trees are all mature. They're at least 2 stories, 3 stories tall, and we have our apple trees and our other fruit trees and our flowering trees. And we decided just to use all that shade and all that gorgeousness. And we planted a lot of natives and lots of ferns. And we did plant some exotics.
Yeah.
Because again, climate change. And now suddenly we can grow things that you can only grow in Southern California. We grew a friggin' citrus tree.
Really?
In Seattle, Washington. It's covered in fruit that is ripening right now. Yep. I'm not kidding at all. We have ginger plants that are producing ginger and flowers, which doesn't ever anyway. We love the garden because we now can sit back there under our umbrella and do all this handwork that we're working on.
Yeah, because we're not stuck to sitting in front of the sewing machine. We can actually take it with us. So sitting out there under the umbrella with a cup of tea and
cup of coffee.
That's so nice. And so do you take everything that you've been growing, the fruits and you cook with that, right? Because you have a cooking class too.
Yeah, we teach cooking classes. We do. Any of the stuff that comes out of the backyard that makes it upstairs usually ends up being snacks at lunch. It's picking things off the berry vines, off the cherry tree. And honestly, the squirrels and birds get to the cherries more than anything.
They get a lot of it, yeah.
We're not so much trying to harvest food out of the backyard anymore. It's the idea of putting in things like ferns and, things that'll come back every year that love the shade back there. We've got one little tiny, seriously, I think it's like this big, one really sunny spot that gets super hot right up against the house. So we put our 2 pots with tropicals in there.
With those heat-loving plants, because it gets baked right there.
It gets baked right there. So we put those in there. But the rest of it is, the apples, we make those into, we eat them.
Whatever, yeah, we eat them.
We eat them. We juice them and eat them. They don't make it very far, but we do, our cooking classes, like a couple of the ones that we have coming up, are specifically using local foods. Again, part of that whole being smart about how you're using local resources, local and sustainable food. And our garden, that was part of it too, is that we didn't want to have to overwater tropicals and cut back native plants and things like that. So we put in natives that can exist that used to be able to exist in the Pacific Northwest climate. But we're still watering less than we normally would, and it has really become another room for us to use.
It is. That's the nice
for relaxing and creating, and it's just this. You've seen the photos. We call it our little jungle oasis because we sit back there under our big giant umbrella and the trees, and we put out a bird bath and bird feeders.
Very nice.
We named the rat that lives in the back garden wall. We tried to get rid of her, but Hildegard is like a little too sturdy, so we water for her now. And
yes, well, that's nice.
We post videos of the birds, their baths and stuff, and it just we love our home here. Generally, it could be about twice as big, but we really love that garden space, and it really, like, sitting back there when you're that zoned out, and you're that calm and peaceful. All of a sudden, like, bam. Like, ideas hit, and you suddenly become a lot more creative, and it's sketching and taking notes and brainstorming things, and it's amazing what having a good space like that can do for you. So we're very grateful that we've had the opportunity this year to do that and to share it with you all.
Yes, that's so nice. And that does sound like very, a spot for a lot of inspiration and, juices flowing. So that's great that you have that in your own backyard and you can enjoy it. And it sounds like you're very busy.
We are.
Things are happening, and that's wonderful.
Thankfully, we're busy.
Yes.
Thankfully,
We like to hear that. I want to thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us again.
Us,
This
Always great to speak with you both, and I always enjoy it. Again, my face is hurting from laughing and smiling. And hope you have a great day.
Well, we just have to see. We always have to see you in person so we can see what you've done with your hair lately. So yeah, because we love that. We love seeing Dinah's hair report as well. So.
Well, I appreciate that. All right, Shannon, Jason, again, always a pleasure. Everybody, if you want to sign up for their workshops, please go to quiltfest.com, search for the Pennsylvania National Quilt Extravaganza online, and click on the Sheba Guys, and that will give you the descriptions of the 2 workshops.
I still say you got to change the name, the International Quilt Extravaganza. And you have to
It's extravaganza.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.